Aloha and welcome to the third presentation of the Women in Business Seminar Series. My name is Annette Lynch. I'm a Program Manager with Maui Economic Development Board, and it's my pleasure to get things rolling here with some housekeeping before I go on to introduce the next part of the agenda. If you've been on our webinars before, you know to use the Q&A tab at the bottom for your questions rather than the chat. By all means, you're welcome to use the chat to say hi and let us know where you are dialing in from, what city, what town, so we get an idea of the range of attendees here. But use the Q&A for your questions. And if you see a question that's one that you would like to see answered, then you can upvote it. And so we'll give priority to those questions at the top. This webcast is being recorded and will be available on MEDB.org. We'll send out reminders to everyone that's attending today, and so that you can watch the replay as well as any resources that we share in this webinar. So it is my pleasure. Great. Thank you for starting to fill out that chat where you're calling in from. But we have a lot to cover here with our two speakers. And on that note, I'm going to pass the microphone to our President and CEO of Maui Economic Development Board, Leslie Wilkins.
Thank you, Annette, and to our MEDB production team. Aloha, and thank all of you for joining us for our third webinar in MEDB's Women in Business series in partnership with the Women's Business Enterprise Council. We are delighted to have over 125 registered today, representing businesses from across Maui County, Hawaii, and several guests from the continental US. 51% of you are startups. 26% of you identified yourself as a mature company and 8% in mature growth mode. So it's lovely to have such a wonderful cross-section of women-owned business. We launched our series last March and are continuing this March because Women's History Month is March. And we're doing this in recognition of all the breakthrough women upon whose shoulders we stand. From women entrepreneurs like Madam C.J. Walker, the first African-American businesswoman to become a millionaire, to inventor Rear Admiral Grace Hopper, who pioneered computer programming, to our own Hawaii Congresswoman Patsy Teamee, who authored Title IX, the groundbreaking legislation requiring equal access for women's programs in educational institutions that receive federal funding. This is its 50th anniversary. We know the pandemic has not been gender neutral. 2.5 million women have left the workplace, primarily citing caregiving responsibilities and educator responsibilities as their children were in virtual school with erratic in and out of school schedules. Women-owned businesses, predominantly in the service sectors, retail, catering and food service, arts and entertainment, and the care economy, have been among the hardest hit. We are all needing to continue to retool, restructure operations, and upskill to meet the challenges of doing business in a changed economy. You know, historically, in times of economic downturn, there has been a marked surge in women opening their own businesses. And this is certainly the case during the pandemic, with record numbers of applications for EIN numbers. Women has been a major part of those numbers. Many women have cited they are seeking more flexibility in their work environment, the persistent wage gap and pay inequity. Just a side note, yesterday was Equal Pay Day, the symbolic date in which women's wages on average catch up with their male counterparts, that what they earn, December 31st of 2021. And they want to work for themselves and change the wage gap paradigm for their future female employees. Others have this great problem-solving idea, and what do they have to lose? And it has always been their dream to own their own business, and they finally took the first big step. So whatever the inspiration that led you to where you are, thank you for contributing to our economy, as small businesses are the backbone of Hawaii and our nation's economy. Most women-owned businesses in Hawaii and across the nation are classified as non-employee-based businesses. meaning they are one-woman shows, one-woman operations. I was just on a webinar with economists from the US Census Bureau, and they are all in agreement with making projections that expanding these one-woman successful operations into job growth, employee retaining companies is a surefire way to diversify, grow, and strengthen the economy. The goal of today's program is to continue to build awareness about a Small Business Administration, SBA, and other women and minority-owned certifications that could potentially give you a tool for growth strategies. Getting your business officially certified is not for everyone. It might not be right for you just yet for your startups, but it's certainly an aspirational goal. Please keep an open mind. It is an arduous process, but it does offer some exciting possibilities. And MEDB and our WBEC partners are here to help you through the process. Today, our program is a talk story with two women who have absolutely persevered through multiple certification processes and have seen the benefits. They're going to tell you firsthand their experiences. These women are working in non-traditional and male-dominated occupations and are certainly role models for all of us. So first of all, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Kelly Ireland, the founder, CEO, and CTO of CBT, an award-winning IT solutions provider with a roster of Fortune 50 clients. Kelly has won numerous accolades, including 2020 Women's Presidents Organization's 50 fastest growing women-owned led companies. She's been Boeing's Performance Excellence Award winner, a Triple Crown Award winner in 2016 and 29, CRN's inaugural Internet of Things IoT Innovators Award winner, and Cloud9 for Excellence in Entrepreneurial Achievement. She is proud to own a WBEC certified business enterprise and takes an active role in mentoring young female entrepreneurs and technologists. Kelly serves on the board for education, nonprofit Generation Yes, and board Uplift Family Services at Holy Grove and EMQ Families First Agency. Our next panelist is Barbara Myrick. She is the president of B&M Construction, Inc. She holds a master's degree in acquisitions and procurement with a certification in government contracting from Webster University and a Bachelor of Science in Business and Finance from Regis University. Barbara is currently fulfilling her third appointment with the state of Colorado for the Minority Business Office, Office of Economic Development, and International Trade. She also holds a seat on the board for Girl Scouts of Colorado. She is an honorably discharged Army veteran and has obtained many awards in her industry, with the most recent being the 2021 Top 100 Titan CEO program and 2020 Enterprising Women of the Year. So as you can tell, we are so honored to have these women that have just done such great things and have opened the doors and broken glass ceilings. And to hear firsthand from them is valuable information. So Kelly, I believe we're going to start with you. Barbara, we'll close with you, and then we're going to open it up to questions. So please keep those questions coming in, and Annette will help me facilitate the questions at the end that you have sent in. So Kelly, I'm going to hand the mic over to you. The floor is yours, and I believe we'll trade out the slide now for Kelly.
Awesome, thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
Where did it go?
We love your background. I think women are great at collaborating and having a can-do attitude. It's a great background.
Thank you. That is actually my conference room. I'm not in it right now, but that is my conference room. Thank you so much. And first, I wanted to say to Barbara, thank you for your service. I think it's very important that we thank our service members who keep us safe every day. And thank you, Leslie, for the introduction. I'm so excited to have some time to spend with you. I didn't have somebody to help me when I first started out and didn't even have really a mentor and really didn't even join an organization until several years into my company. And I'm saddened that I wasn't able to do it quicker just because I didn't know about it. So I think it's great that you guys are showcasing this out and showing how you can tell women what different organizations they can belong to, how they can get certified, and what this certification means to them, because it was night and day with me as to where I was before and where I ended up. And you can see where I'm at on here is 42 years in tech, definitely a male-dominated industry, and 21 years of my own company. I worked for many others before I opened my own. And when I opened my own, it was kind of because I had to. I was working for a company that did not understand the changes in my industry. And I felt I was going to lose my client, who was Boeing. And it was the only client really that I was supporting at that time. And I didn't want to lose them because I was contributing highly to their success. We were providing them with a lot of their technology. And they were a great, and are still a great company to work with. We have sold over $2 billion in sales to Fortune 50 companies. Another way of saying we were able to be successful in this. And a lot of that has to do with having my WBEC certification and being able to broaden the number of clients that I serve. We are 6 years in digital transformation. And for those of you who don't know what that is, when you hear about Internet of Things and all this new technology that's coming out, being connected, whether it's by your watch or a helmet or a whole host of other things, it's a very exciting time. And the reason I mention that is because I am now working with zoos. I am working with education. I am working with museums. I'm working with companies never did I think I'd be working with. And it's because everybody is starting to bring tech into their companies. So just be very broad-minded when you're looking at how you bring your business to other businesses. Keep in the back of your mind, think about tech, keep up on tech, so that you're current and you start understanding. Because when I get into the meat of what I'm going to tell you, being unique is very important. Finding some way to be unique. I'm also, as I said, I'm on several boards, which I think is great because there are, and I want to also promote, be on as many boards. I know Barbara's on a ton of them. Kudos to you, because there aren't enough females out there on those boards. Many times I'm still the only woman in the room. I'm the only woman at the table. They're trying diligently, and a lot of that has to do with tech and being so male dominant, but we're trying to espouse more and more women to feel confident in their knowledge and to feel that they can be on these advisory boards. The more uniqueness, the more you show what you are capable of doing, the more you're going to be invited to be into those. And I can't wait to have tons of them. And then I'm a mom with 2 great sons. I'm an athlete all my life, and I'm a thrill seeker. So I'm one of those that I have a need for speed. And it doesn't matter what it's on, I do it. This was one of the statements I made about WBEC certification. Such an immense network of all different kinds of women in every different aspect of their life and their business life. So what does that get you? Business to business. So my business to another WBEC business. We are constantly sharing experiences. It could be around mutual clients or mutual industries. It doesn't matter. The more I can help them. And the thing is there's a lot of business out there. You don't want to go educate your competition. But in some cases, you might find, and we're finding this more and more, it's not all competition, it's co-opetition. There's many times where we're finding that it's ecosystems that are delivering, not just you yourself. And I know there's a lot of diversity across what type of industries all of you attendees may be in, but I think in every single one, there's always some way you can find a way to share your experiences, even if it's somebody in a completely different industry. There's always some experience that you can share with them. And that's what you get when you join WBEC, you get certified, is this exposure to all of those different companies. The other thing is sharing best practices. And we've seen this where we even work with other companies that share, how their financial team approaches things, how their marketing team approaches things, or how, if you're a single person doing all of these jobs, educating you on different ways to approach it, different companies that you can hire to support you through those, even within the WBEC catalog of businesses, of how you hire other women businesses that can provide services to your company, both internally as well as externally, like I said, in ecosystems. So working projects, we are working several projects right now with 2 to 3 other WBEC companies, and they are not located in WBEC West. They are not in our region. They're mostly the ones we're working with now are in Texas. I have another one I'm working with in the Seattle area. And by having this membership and growing these networks out, I have the ability to meet these women. Previously, it was in person. Now, a lot of it is virtually, but going back to in person and being able to share with them our capabilities, their capabilities, and then approaching clients. We're both being brought into opportunities by other companies, other WBEC companies, so my ecosystem partners, and we're actually grabbing and tapping on those people as well and bringing them into ours. The great thing about what we have going on right now is a lot of the work is virtual. So I don't have to be in Texas. I don't have to be in Seattle. They don't have to be in Southern California. We can bring these services in from everywhere. I know that's not the same for all of you. Some of you, it's doing all their service, delivering your services in Maui, but always think bigger. Always think, where else can I go? How big can my future be? How can we expand? Like Leslie said, how can we expand from one woman to a whole entire company? When I started, I said, I'll never have more than 20 employees. I don't want more than 20. I'm not doing it. I don't want to get too big. Well, that lasted about 10 years. And then my clients said, no, you have to grow. You need to get bigger. And it was a great problem to have. So we actually did grow much bigger. On the leader to leader, and this is from a female to the owner, CEO, to if you're just an individual, it's actually having not just the business to business network, but having the person to person network. This is one of the best things that I've done. I actually have a whole group of women that are just my friends now. Even if we don't do business together, we still are friends, but we also share, our experiences of, both successes and mistakes. The best thing for us to share is our mistakes, because how do you learn? If you don't make those mistakes, you don't learn. But it's kind of a passion of mine of mentoring young women, even in tech, women in tech, to not have to go through what I went through. Because if you can imagine being in an extremely male-dominated field, I've had to work 10 times harder. I've had to go through things that most others have not had to. And if there's any tricks of the trade, anything that I can teach someone so that they can bypass the issues I've had to deal with, some of the hardships I've had to deal with, some of the misunderstandings and miscommunications, then I think, even if I help one woman to not have to go through what I went through, I think it's a win. But I think we can multiply that by 100x or, hopefully 10,000x. Learning tricks of the trade and dealing with manufacturers, companies, industry groups. This is all around. You can expand your network even broader, because once you're, like Barbara's in construction, I'm in tech. There's all kinds of industry groups that I become a member of to expand it even farther. And what I always see is the females gravitate together. We're kind of, we have our tribe that we protect each other, we educate each other, we help each other through different things that we've learned over the years of dealing with different manufacturers we've had to deal with, even dealing with, maybe our clients are the same. I've had some, we've been in completely different industries, but we work with the same customers. So we share some of the things we've learned with working with that customer. Any type of education is a great thing to share, and is something that I've just gotten a ton of over the last decade of being a WBEC member. Mentor-mentee, a lot of this is, Leslie said, there's a lot of startups here. I think it's incumbent upon the WBEC members to help lift and educate and help those that, haven't had businesses for very long, or really starting from scratch and trying to learn. And I think each of us, this gives each of you an opportunity to reach out to hundreds of women business owners. Hopefully that you can find ones in your own industry. And if not, we can help you get connected with those. And your MEDB can do the same to help you get connected to women that have been in the business for years or decades, and can help you get that good start, that kind of running start, instead of having you struggle along trying to understand how to get through the myriad of everything, including, becoming a WBEC member. That takes some time. I think it was a little tougher for me because I was already into my business and had been established for quite a while before I joined in. So I had to provide them with a lot of information. With startups, I think it's a little bit simpler, and it certainly is a great tool to help you. The last thing I'm going to say is learning soft skills. This is one of the things. When I was young, I was extremely shy. I could not present. If you tried, you could not put me in front of a crowd. And I even, early on in my business, I was a wallflower. I kind of walk in a room in big conference and I'd stand by the wall and I'd kind of observe and see what was going on. But I wasn't one of those that could walk up and, put my hand out and introduce myself and, start communicating and collaborating. And I think that's one thing that's been missing from a lot of us, is the communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. Those are things that are inherent to everything you're going to do. And by having other women to talk to, by watching them, sitting back and observing, seeing how they approach clients, seeing how they approach diversity personnel, seeing how they go from business to business and have conversations, it just gives you one more avenue to really understand and learn, how to present yourself, how to communicate effectively, how to start thinking outside the box and creating something that's different than what you initially thought about. My other comment was about corporate diversity teams and how they can help you, and how this can end up being a win-win-win. One of the things that I think is been paramount is having that exposure. What you get with WBEC is that a multitude of online training courses. And not only are those coming from WBEC itself, they're coming from the corporate members. So you're getting opportunities, and it's so diverse. It includes everything about your business. It could be something specific to finance. It could be something specific to marketing. It could be something specific to an industry. They even have, we had Shell Oil had a 1-week session learning all about how you handle and how you can work with oil and gas companies. Well, they took you down to the refinery for a week and you lived there with a whole group of 20 other women, and they taught you everything there was about their industry. And that's something that is worth its weight in gold, because understanding the companies you're trying to sell through is one of the smartest things you can do. But I'll get to that in my next little group. Participation in virtual in-person conferences. This is, I think you've seen, they have multiple conferences. We used to have them in person. With COVID, we kind of had to figure out how to do it. Now, many of them are doing it virtual. I think we'll go back to in-person or hybrid. I'm seeing a lot of people go back to hybrid, where you can either attend, and I thought Maui is quite a ways from everybody else, and Hawaii. We certainly would like to go to where you are and bring it to you. I think that would probably be something we Big West should look at. But also have you join us in person. There's nothing like in person, but also having the ability to do it virtually. They also allow for one-on-one meetings. And in previous years, when you were in person, you could get up to, I believe, about a dozen one-on-one opportunities with corporates. What you do is you present your information, your capabilities, and then the corporates pick who they want to meet with. I know in several of the last conferences, I had a full slate of 12, and I can't tell you how invaluable that was, but it took several years to get to that. So don't think you're just going to go in and be able to do that. The more you showcase your capabilities, your successes, your ability to be unique and different and forward thinking, the more chance you're going to have, and the better you are prepared at showcasing who you are and how you approach your business, and that you are capable of what you are presenting, the more chance you're going to get to have those ones-on-ones. And they, again, are so invaluable. And then sponsorship into corporate opportunities. When you win, when you sit down and you talk to a diversity person and they look at you and go, yeah, you are exactly what we need, they give you sponsorships into opportunities within their corporations. And again, it's worth its weight in gold to have a sponsor that actually takes you in, introduces you to business units, lines of business in companies or to executives, and says, this is a WBEC woman-owned business. They are invaluable to what we're doing. They know what we need. And that's one of the things that's next is study the corps. If you're going to be sponsored by them, you better do your homework. You better understand exactly what it is that they do, what their goals, what they envision for the future, who the people are that you would most likely be working with, or the departments, and really just educating yourself on this. You can Google them. You can look at what's called a K1, which is most public corporations have a thing called, I believe it's called a K1, that shows everything about what the company is doing. It tells you who the leaders are. It tells you the departments. It tells you their goals and their aspirations for the coming year to 5 to 10 years. It tells them what they're really trying to achieve. And it is something that it's critical that you understand, because if you are not prepared when you have those conversations with the corporations, you will not have an opportunity, because they will know immediately. So prepare yourself, be confident in your abilities, because that's one thing that they also are looking for, is that you believe in yourself. If you want them to believe in you, then you have to believe in yourself. And then the last thing I would say is show your uniqueness. There are so many times that CBT was compared to, oh, you're just a value-added reseller. You're like all the rest. And I'd go, no, we're not. But I had to show them that we weren't the same as everybody else. And by doing that, I was able to get in the door to corporations that I had never gotten into before. And a lot of that had to do with watching what's going on in your industry, being at the forefront of it, not listening to the noise around you of what are you doing? Because I had many times people telling me, what the heck are you doing? You're crazy. This is nuts. And I just really focused and convinced them otherwise. So that's the end of my story.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelly, for sharing insights, lessons learned, that the greatest learning experience comes from our failures, and how generous it is to share it with other women. I think that your talk totally epitomized what's behind you in collaboration. And for the audience listening, again, we're so honored, MEDB, to be a partner with WBEC West. All the training opportunities, and then being part of a collaboration network of other women businesses is part of what a very important service that they offer. MEDB, through a grant from the federal EDA as well as the SBA, has funding for our Maui County women-owned businesses to enroll in WBEC and get support, hand-holding, guidance, mentoring through the certification process, and then being part of the network. So thank you for sharing how it helped your business, Kelly. All right, next, we'd like to hear from another WBEC certified person. And Barbara, I think you are an amazing role model for using various certifications to expand your networks and expand your business opportunities. And I join Kelly and all of us in thanking you for your service. So we're excited to hear about your business journey.
Well, good afternoon and hello, aloha.
Nice.
Thank you, Leslie and Leilani and Gary and Annette for inviting me to be a part of this panel and have a conversation and share. So being in construction, we are in the Front Range of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and we've been in business for 17 years. We specialize mainly for DOD municipalities and states. I am a mother of 3 adult children, 4 grandchildren. I have a homestead farm. I'm a beehiver, so I raise honeybees, and I have a nonprofit as well. During the pandemic, I created 2 other products that will be going to market this year. I'm working on labeling now, but really I want to talk about the certifications. And Kelly, thank you for sharing about WBEC and the strength of the network of sisterhood. We call it sisterhood in WBEC. And so the certifications have helped my business grow so much. So I was writing down today actually how many certifications there are. There are so many certifications. The state offers one, the city offers one, the federal government offers one, and then you have corporations that look at certifications a little different. And so along my journey, I've obtained quite a few of them, but they were for strategic purposes at that time, and they still hold a strategic purpose for me. Because the Department of Defense requires a woman-owned small business certification, which is through the SBA, and WBEC is a third-party certifier there. But then you have the VA, which is Veterans Administration, that has their own certification. So each one of my certifications was a strategic move for me. We are currently located in 5 states. Florida, Texas, California, Colorado, of course, and St. Louis. So our footprint is there because of the need of the client, which is the VA administration. So we do a lot of work for them. But I really wanted to highlight and discuss the various certifications and why they are strategic in nature. And when you look at certifications, don't get overwhelmed about them because they can be overwhelming. I think the most challenging one to get is the 8A certification. And then once you get the 8A certification, and that's a time limit on that one where you have 9 years, but it's a 2-year, you have to be in business for 2 years before you get that particular certification. And with that, then each state has their own certification that reciprocates across the United States. So Hawaii might have the Hawaiian Department of Transportation. I don't know if it's HDOT. Is it HDOT, Leslie, for Hawaii?
Yes, we have a State Hawaii Department of Transportation. And in Hawaii, the 8A certification, our Native Hawaiian, 51% owned by Native Hawaiian is considered an 8A Indigenous owned company here.
All righty, so yeah, and you have to be 51% owned for all these certifications. So the HDOT actually goes across the country and it reciprocates in every state. You just have to, you would have to apply, and that really deals with horizontal construction and roads and bridges and things of that nature. If someone is into construction and horizontal, that would be a good certification to look at. Also, there are various ones that corporations look at that I have. And so I was looking, and the service disabled veteran one by the VA is really the federal one that they acknowledge, but they really look at the disability one. It's one for disability. Whether you're a vet or you have a disability, they have one there as well. So I wanted to just encourage each of you to consider getting certified, because it does bring value. It helps you, like Kelly said, bring growth to your company, and managing the strategy on how you use them, because everyone doesn't look at the certifications the same way that corporate looks at them and the federal government. So how does WBEC play into this is that they actually are a third-party certifier for the federal government for the women, the WOSB, which actually gets you into federal market. And you'll hear me talk about the federal market because that's where I found my niche. And quirky projects that nobody wanted to do, I wind up doing the quirky projects, and I grew relationships as well. And I was in Hawaii doing work to install some furniture at one time for the Corps of Engineers. So there is definitely opportunity for women to grow. Kelly did make another good point about our confidence. I think we, when we enter a room, we don't walk with confidence or speak with confidence. And we have to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of our male counterparts to actually talk about our business and even give good examples of the things that we've done, and our capabilities is important. Kelly did, in WBEC, they also have it's called the Platinum Supplier Training. And they actually take you through the training where you present in front of corporates your capabilities. And at that time, you are critiqued. And be open for constructive criticism when they critique you, because sometimes it could just be really what we might think is harsh. It's things that we really need to work on and improve, so that we can present, so that they can say, I have a woman-owned business that can do this. And let us, another thing that I shared with Leslie the other day is that we don't support each other like we should. I think we are our worst enemies. We want the whole pie and we don't want to share the pie. You know, I'm okay with a slice, because when I look at the whole pie, that means I might gain a few pounds. And I just don't want that. So I would encourage us as women, not just the participants, us as women to lift each other up, to support each other, to encourage each other, and to really speak the truth to one another. I don't know how many veterans are on participating today, but when I was going through the list of certifications, there are about 4 or 5 certifications for service disabled vet or veteran-owned businesses that I think veterans should look at. Corporations are really looking at veteran-owned businesses now, and each one requires a different certification. So I think those are worth their weight in gold as well. The government has changed some of their procurement requirements, and besides the 8A, they look at service disabled veteran-owned businesses more closer. So that would be a move as well. That I just think service disabled vet, any certification that you can get on the veteran side is worth their weight in gold. I love what I do. I love certifications. They have really opened the door. I want to encourage each of you to do that, but be reminded and mindful, a certification doesn't get you through the door sometimes. It doesn't get you invited to the table, but it opens doors in other areas that will be fruitful to you. I always say I want to get invited to the dance. I don't really want to be at the dinner table. I really want to be dancing. And dancing is the icing on the cake. But I just want you to be mindful of the certifications they take. Sometimes they can be challenging to get. So value them, but then value the relationships that come with those certifications, and be mindful that you might not get that contract or opportunity then, and it's building those relationships for the future. I was sharing with someone the other day that a couple years ago, it was more than a couple years ago, I was at a conference and a gentleman needed some work in Alaska, and he didn't think I could go to Alaska. And I went to Alaska because we had a conversation, and he said, in a year from today, a contract will be on your email. And you know, sometimes we just think people talk. Well, he wasn't talking, he was serious. And it wound up on my email, and I wound up in Alaska. And then we built a relationship of trust. We built a relationship of collaboration. I brought equity to him. I could do something for him. I made his job easy. So we built a relationship from there, and then he gave me referral after referral after referral. So it might not be today that you get a contract. It might be a year from now, or it might just be you can refer someone and they remember that and they bring you back into the deal. Like when Kelly was talking about the women coming together to work on a project, it didn't just happen in a day. It was building that relationship, it's building that trust and that understanding. So keep in mind with that as well, building those relationships. And I know I'm in a non-traditional field, and Kelly's in a non-traditional field. But I want to even encourage the women that are caterers and florists, and does those service, have those service companies from janitorial. Get your certification as well. Corporates buy flowers. They like to be fed. They like catering. They like to come. They would love to come to Hawaii. We would love WBEC to come to Hawaii. I've been talking about this for a couple of years to them. And we use the people right there in that state. They don't bring in a whole flock of people. They use the people in that state. But corporates, they love to eat. They love to play golf. They love conventions. They love all of those things. So your certifications will take you very far in that arena as well. So just step out and challenge yourself and say, I can do this, and I'm going to get my certification and try and build relationships and move forward from there. Hey, you guys can even come over here to the mainland, as you call it, and work as well. You know, there's enough business, like Kelly said, for all of us to do well, for all of us to pay ourselves well. There is so much that we can do. There's so much value in these here certifications that don't overlook them. Don't say the paperwork is mundane. That's what Leslie and them are there for, to help you walk through those things. That's what WBEC is there for, to help you walk through those things. Matter of fact, once you become certified with WBEC, they assign an ambassador to you. I'm an ambassador too for WBEC. And so I, encourage women when they get certified. We talk about some of the things Kelly talked about, the opportunity for training, the opportunity for networking, where you may want to fit in. You have a local forum that you participate in, and they have events, and you have just a huge networking opportunity. So there is so much opportunity for us as women to grow and to help each other, but to excel our businesses. Don't overlook these certifications, and don't change your mindset. If you have that mindset that it's so much paperwork, please change your mindset, because that paperwork now that may be a headache to you is going to help you move forward and launch you into the future. So thank you. I can talk all day about certification, so I'll be quiet.
Oh, thank you very, very much, Barbara. And again, I just wanted to underscore what you said about it is an arduous process with paperwork, but please reach out and contact us at MEDB. We are actively recruiting women-owned businesses to help you get certified. WBEC West, I believe the leader of the Western region of that, Dr. Pamela Williamson, is on, and Juana Lynch, who we work with. They're partners. We really want to help enroll you in their program where you will get guidance, coaching, hand-holding to get you through that process. And thank you, Barbara and Kelly, for giving firsthand testimonial to the fact that not only do you have the certification, which can open up doors, but it opens you to a network of other women-owned businesses to build collaborations and friendships and sharing lessons learned with each other. I think you've done that extraordinarily well. We have some questions, but I'm going to ask Annette if there's something coming from the chat just to come in to answer questions. So I wanted to ask both of you, I think this is an important thing to ask all of us that are women-owned businesses. What has been your proudest moment as a business owner? If you look back on your years of experience and all your accomplishments, what do you think was your proudest moment?
I will start with that one because it's something that happened just last year. And early on, I was told, why are you dealing with aerospace? Why are you getting into big corporations? You'll never be successful there. You know, constantly being told what I shouldn't and couldn't do. Last year, we work with a manufacturer, software manufacturer named PTC. They're global, they're very large. And they asked us if we would like to submit for an award, new annual award for ecosystem solution. And we said, sure, because we had been working on one for 5 years with about 24 other corporate members, manufacturers, and service providers. And we put our story together and we submitted it. And it was, PTC submitted it to an outside staff. So it wasn't, you know, oh, they're buddies of yours. It was done by an outside staff. And we were told we were in the top 3 and to attend the virtual conference and they would name who won. Well, we attend the conference and we won, but what we didn't realize is who our competition was. We beat out Accenture, who is a multi-billion-dollar company. We're 52 people, and we beat out L&T Technologies, which is one of the 6 largest Indian system integrators in the world. So we beat out multi-billion-dollar companies. So it made us feel like, you know, the little guy or the little girl, the little gal, the little, you know, lady, we won. We won and we beat the big dogs. And it was just such a fitting moment for my team. So proud.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's an amazing accomplishment and recognition. Barbara?
Oh, goodness. What do I think mine is from a people's perspective. And it still holds true to today. I think my proudest moment was when I could, I had grew enough where I could pay my employees well and offer benefits. That was the proudest moment for me because my employees, I looked at what their goals were in life and I wanted to make sure, and I still to this day want to make sure that those little things that some of us may take for granted is important to me to help them achieve And if it's from buying a home to a car or sending their kids to college. So my happiest moment was when I could offer a full benefits package and help them sit down and write goals to accomplish the things that they wanted.
Great. Well, both inspiring. Annette, I'm still looking to you if there are any questions coming from our audience. If I'm not seeing those just yet, I have some. I think as we look back over the audience, that they might take that as a lesson learned from you. Either one of
Leslie,
you.
no, you cut out just a little. Can you redo the question?
Wished you had done differently that you might share with our audience as a lessons learned?
Well, mine right off the bat is I would have joined WBEC a lot sooner. I would have gotten certifications a whole lot sooner. Again, I didn't because I didn't know what it was about, but I would say that would be first and foremost is to do my certification, because it was such a night and day difference between trying to build my business before and what came after.
Excellent advice. Barbara?
You said, what would I have done differently?
Differently, right? That might be advice. Yes, go ahead.
I would have set up my external team first. I would have made sure I had the right attorney, the right CPA, the right bonding company, and the right banker. Because sometimes the people that we choose don't fit. For instance, I'll use banking. A large bank sometimes doesn't understand the challenges of small businesses. And so having that personal banker to help me along the way, I wish I would have done those things earlier differently than lesson learned from. But now I'm in a good place. But those are the things, making sure that I had my external team in place along with my internal team. But my external team really holds value, and we have to be willing as small businesses to pay for what they're worth. And at that time, sometime I think when we're first starting out, we try to work around it, but in the end, we should really incorporate that. And then setting up an advisory group, having a group of advisors to help guide me along the way.
Excellent responses. We'd have one question in the chat asking, how much does it cost to get certified? So to get SBA women-owned business certified costs no money. You may do that yourself. The forms are readily available on the SBA website, and also available, there's small business centers throughout communities across the country, including Hawaii and Maui County. But there is a fee to get the additional coaching and introduction to and be a part of the WBEC network. And what I'm saying is, again, I hope I'm not being too repetitive, MEDB has scholarships for that. It's also and it will be for Maui County and Hawaii-based women businesses. But we do have some business folks dialing in from other states. Just to let you know, it's a sliding scale. I think it's very reasonable. I think that Dwana will correct me in the chat, but I think it's about $360 up. It's based on a sliding scale of your annual revenues. So up to about $1 million in annual revenues, I believe it's about $350 to $400. So very, very reasonable. But again, for Maui County and Hawaii-based businesses, MEDB has received some grants to help scholarship you to have the additional coaching and help a WBEC through the process.
Just jumping in, Leslie, I've got a question that came in the Q&A from Serena. And the question's for Kelly. As a fellow IT owner, what would be your advice on how to approach digital transformation? Hawaii is known to be far behind in tech, but the need is there and it's starting to pick up pace.
What I would say is one of the things that we do every day, and it's called crawl, walk, run. So don't dive into digital transformation and try to do everything. Don't try to learn everything. Look at your customer base. Try and judge based off of what you read about them or having conversations with them of what they're looking at. I can tell you that a lot of people are adopting it very slowly. They're very tentative about that because so many companies have tried to sell digital transformation and it's been slow and in many cases unsuccessful. We've done 5 years of research and building this out at Refinery of the Future of really trying these out and testing them. So I would say pick something, connected worker, wearables, get a partnership with a software company that works with some of the wearable companies, and then do your homework of learning it. Test it out yourself. I've actually used connected worker across the world. I've connected in from China. I've connected in from Saudi Arabia, just to showcase and actually to use it myself in some of the competitions that we were in. It's really, you really have to learn it. Everybody says, oh, you take hardware and software and put it together because that's what we always did in tech. It's not the same in digital transformation, not even in connected worker. Do your homework, learn it, be an expert, and I guarantee you, you will have more business than you know what to do with.
Great response. And we're looking always to bring more women into technology and into STEM fields. So thank you for that coaching advice. As we're approaching the final minutes of our webinar, I have one last question for our amazing panelists with much gratitude, a huge heartfelt mahalo to you for your time. Is there one final tip that you'd like to give to those in going through the certification process?
I think like Barbara said, don't delay. Just don't delay. Find the ones that make sense for you and do not delay. Don't let the myriad of things that you have to produce get in your way.
Great.
And be persistent. Be persistent. Be persistent. And in your pursuit. Don't. I seen so many just quit in the middle of getting approved or not turning in a document. So be persistent and don't get frustrated with the process, because it's a process there for accountability purposes, and that's why the paperwork is mundane as it is, but it's there for accountability. So be persistent in your pursuit.
And good point, Barbara. It's there to protect you. It protects truly female-owned corporations, organizations, businesses. They're there to really protect us as much as to help us. So remember that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Sage advice. Well, we are wrapping up. Thank you again, Kelly and Barbara. We wish you the best of continued luck. Thank you for your mentorship in your respective communities and with WBEC. And remember, please, all the women that are on the call, women-owned businesses, new startups, women that are thinking to launch that new business, to be qualified, you have to be 51% owned. Your documentation has to show that you are 51% the owner and operator. You're calling the shots. You're making the decisions. You're the intellectual property. And then you are eligible for this. And I think in closing, we have some resources for you. If you'll check out the screen, here are some resources to make available for your pursuit and checking out how being women-owned certified or other minority-owned certification could benefit you and your business. And just to let you know, we have recorded this webinar. It will be made available shortly. We will send an email out to all of you who registered to let you know when it is available and posted to Maui Economic Development Board's website, which is medb.org. Any final comments, Annette, as we close? Thank you for being our logistics coordinator. Also to Leilani and Gary for your assistance.
Thank you, Leslie. I just wanted to reinforce what's on the slide to please give us some feedback on today's presentation. It always helps us to continue to grow and give out the best information that we can to the businesses here. So the link is in the chat, and we'll also send that out by email. I think it'll also pop up as soon as the meeting closes. So mahalo to everybody for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be well, everyone. Take care.
Take care.